What is the most worth it item you have ever purchased? Story 1. My cat for a 75 donation to the local animal shelter. In love, this little guy more than words can express. Story 2. Years ago, my dad bought a plastic severed hand as a Halloween prop. Every year, we stick that hand in different places, hanging from the stove, the trunk of our car, under the front porch, basically anywhere we wanted. I even tossed it at him once or twice when he asked for a hand, just like Buzz did to Woody in Toy Story. X200B, hands down, one of the best purchases he's ever made. Story 3. A Thomas Daft Punk helmet, the silver one, so it doesn't fit, which really sucks, but it looks amazing on the shelf. Story 4. Wall hair clippers after moving out of home. 41 time, and I've had 4 years of free haircuts so far. I just give myself short clipper cuts whenever it goes down to my eyes so I can do it by feel. Story 5. A good pair of boots. I have a pair of black hiking Tims. They have outlived all other boots I've had since I got them. Edit, it was fun to wake up to how much attention this got. Boots are cool. You're all so kind. Answer, people buy multiple pairs of cheap footwear from department stores every year or so and fail to take care of them. Buying high-quality footwear and learning how to care for it takes very little time, saves money in the long run, improves your quality of life, and gives you a massive bump in style points. I've had the same 3 pairs of dress shoes now since 2012 and get compliments on them regularly. My work boots are 5 years old and, while certainly well used, are still in great shape and incredibly comfortable. I used to burn through 50 dress shoes every year. 200 dress shoes have lasted me 7 and have at least 7 more years to go. Story 6. I bought The Witcher 3, Wild Hunt for $500 with all the DLC. Either that or a round-trip Felgith from NJ to CA for about $50. Story 7. Truly wireless headphones for the gym travel. Mine are Jabra Elite 65T. So much better than the behind-the-neck cable and great sound, and good battery as well, including recharging case. Story 8. I bought an 8-outlet power strip with surge protectors and 4 USB charger plug-ins built into the power strip. I have everything on my entertainment stand, all plugged in, and a phone charger that reaches from there all the way to the couch. Story 9. Nintendo Switch. I'm never completely sold with consoles, but this one makes me feel like a kid again. Story 10. When I lived in the northern U.S., it was my fleece-lined pants, always warm in winter, regardless of where I was. Story 11. My laptop. Actually, my dad bought it. It had Intel Atom 1.8 GHz with a 1D RAM. It changed my life completely. Whenever I tried to run any game or heavy softwares, it wouldn't run, but I would keep on trying different methods just because I didn't want to give up. I've used After Effects, Photoshop, Playpiece, and NFS, most wanted on 20-30 FPS. It taught me everything I know of computers as I researched why stuff didn't work every once in a while. Thank you, Lenovo S10 3C, for being so underpowered. Story 12. A 3D printer. It opened my mind, and now I project and design things that I can magically have in my hands in few hours. X200B. Story 13. For me, it's my dog. I spent $600 on her and got her from a couple who had their 2 dogs breed. She's a gorgeous border collie, and she keeps myself and my partner company. I've invested a fair bit of time and money in training her properly and have a moderately well-behaved doggo to help watch over my partner when I'm away and keep her company. She's always happy to see me. She loves to come over when I'm just relaxing and ask for pats, and she's possibly the cutest thing I've ever seen when she's sleeping or playing. If you're ever on the fence about getting a dog, it's very rewarding, provided you have the time, effort, and money to put into their upkeep. They love you forever and are always doing something to make you laugh. Honestly, LASIK is like upgrading your life from 480p to 4K overnight. There's something truly magical about waking up and not having to play a game of find the glasses on the nightstand just to see what time it is. It's probably the best investment in yourself you can ever make. Story 14. Definitely my Fitbit. My mom would always say, you're in college, you walk constantly, just eat what you want. And I didn't understand why I was putting on weight. Turns out I was walking about 2K steps daily while on a college diet. Totally changed my perspective on how active I really was. Story 15. Movers. When we moved out of our parents' house and into our 3rd-story apartment. We moved all the stuff out of our parents' houses and into the truck, but moving south and up 3 flights of stairs, we always say it's the greatest thing we've ever done. The movers looked as though they jumped into a pool 10 minutes into moving. Story 16. My education. Like most people, my parents didn't have money in a bank account somewhere for my college, so I did the loan thing and any scholarships that I could. Got an engineering degree and was able to eventually work my way into a career I truly enjoy that also allows me to live happily and comfortably. I still pay student loans actually, so I guess technically I haven't finished purchase, but I know without my education I wouldn't have the life I have now. Story 17. My dog and rats, pets are expensive and certainly are a serious commitment, but the benefit to my mental health and well-being, having them around and being responsible for them, makes it more than worth it. And honestly, I am in debt to my pets. No amount of care for them will equal up to how they have saved my life. You'll just have to love them as hard as I can to pay back a fraction of what they've done for me. Story 18. Well, after 61,000 miles, I finally got rid of my tires, which have been trying to eliminate me for a couple of months now, and bought new tires this past Saturday. So yeah, keep good tires on your vehicles. Answer: I used to sell tires, and the line I always used was, I don't care how good your brakes are. Your brakes can only stop your wheels. Your tires stop you car. I don't care how strong your engine is. Your engine can only spin your wheels. Your tires move your car. I can make a minivan handle a Corvette by putting the right tires on the minivan and the wrong tires on the Corvette. Every move your car makes has to go through your tires before anything actually happens. Tires are critical. There is no excuse to go with cheap, crappy tires. Story 19. I was in New Zealand, and a local guy recommended I get a deep-fried Mars bar from their neighborhood fish and chip shop. Now, I'm allergic to dairy and eggs, but he was just so excited and insistent, I just thought, what the hell, and got it. Worth it. So sick after, but worth it. Story 20. A Dremel tool. Makes models and prop building incredibly easy and is very versatile. I'd buy it again in a heartbeat. Story 21. Heated bed for my 15-year-old cat. My boyfriend said he didn't need it, but I felt like he was really suffering this year when winter started. I've never seen him love something so much. He spends probably 12 hours a day in it. Also, when he gets agitated over something weird, you put him in it, and he almost immediately calms down. Story 22. A pair of indoor roller skates. I love skating. It's so much fun, and it makes me feel like I'm dancing all over again. Story 23. Bone conduction headphones. I can run, hear my music, and also hear Cars Mountain Lions. Also, I work in a kitchen and can listen to my podcasts while being able to hear others. Best money I've spent in a long time. P.S. I always have some annoying song playing on repeat in my head on a daily. These things help with that. Story 24. A nice, heavy cast iron skillet. That bad boy will cook anything to perfection. Chicken, pork, beef, you name it. Story 25. A Blu-ray player and an HD TV later than other people I knew due to financial hardships in the recession. For a movie lover like myself, this setup makes all the difference in the world. Story 26. Professional movers. It was almost therapeutic to see guys struggling to carefully maneuver my heavy items up a flight of stairs instead of me. Story 27. Earplugs for loud situations. You'll never know how good quiet feels until you realize you'll never experience silence there again. Story 28. I'll buy junk food for my every other Sunday DD game. One time, however, I bought a 2-pound burrito a place nearby sells. I ate the entire thing over the course of our 3-hour game. It'll let you imagine how I was feeling, but it'll tell you it was worth it. Story 29. A heated blanket. My dorm room has terrible heating, so I'm always dressed in layers while watching TV or playing games. Now I just plug my blanket in, and it keeps me toasty. Story 30. A Camelback. Both of my parents told me how stupid I was to buy one, and I was wasting my money. When I got back from college 6 months later, my dad had 2 and said, I was so totally wrong. These are amazing. Having both parents tell you that they were wrong and you were right at 18 is the best money you could ever spend. Story 31. 1440p, 144 Hz monitor. The jump from 60 Hz to 144 Hz is almost jarring at first, but wow, it's amazing. The jump from 1440p to 4K is not incredible, but the jump from 1080p and 1440p is giant. It cleans up all the jagged edges on text that 1080p has. Story 32. One of those system switch boxes. Back in the day, my TV only had the one composite input. Getting a box so I could switch from PlayStation to Nintendo to Xbox with the push of a button was the greatest thing ever. Story 33. Definitely my SS for my gaming PC. My PC loads up to the Windows login screen before my monitor fully turns on. It's amazing. Story 34. Life insurance at an early age. I have crazy cheap life insurance because I got most of it when I was in my early 20s. And now that I have a family to provide for in case something happens, I don't have to worry about it. X200B, edit. My original point wasn't really just to say I got a great deal, just that it was worth it. If you have a spouse and or kids, life insurance should be a priority. One thing I'll clarify for those who might not understand why life insurance in general, regardless of the kind, is cheaper when you're young is because you are healthier. So you can lock in a rate at least for a long time based off of the healthiest time of your life. They make you do a blood test. You are more likely to be less healthy as you age, and even a little difference in your weight and cholesterol, blood pressure, blood sugar, etc. can make a big difference on the rate. Story 35. My smart TV, it has virtually any streaming service app integrated, and I can cast even more from my phone in seconds. I have my TV hooked up to my stereo receiver speakers, and it has a Spotify app, so I can even cast my music to my sound system without AUX or Bluetooth adapters or an expensive modern sound system. The convenience is amazing. Technology is pretty cool. Story 36. My current winter jacket. It's made by Didrikson's, and it's just fudge awesome. I've always had the worst winter gear, mostly because my parents were poor, and after moving out, I was living off student financial aid for 7 years. When I got the chance, I bought this jacket, and it's heaven. It can be like only 20 Celsius out there, and I can just wear a t-shirt underneath this badass and take the trash out. Whenever I wear the jacket, it feels like I'm still indoors. Hell, it's so darn good, I don't even need to wear gloves most of the time. It has enough pockets for anything and everything. There's even a tablet-sized pocket inside. Also, there are these hand pockets that are covered with fur, so if by chance you get your hands cold, bam, they're instantly oven fresh again. Also, it looks badass as well. Story 37. An alarm clock that wakes me up with light. I wake up naturally every day. No sudden brutal wake-ups. It helped with my depression when I had it too. Story 38. Surprisingly, AirPods. I know it's a meme, but it's nice to have and feel very comfortable. The in-ear earbuds always felt awkward to me, and wired earpods always break after a month or two of use. I've been using my AirPods for almost 6 months, and I haven't had any issues. Meme or not, it's definitely worth it to me. Story 39. My Brita jug. Use it every day, multiple times a day. The biggest advantage for me is not that the water is cleaner, but that it's colder because I can keep it in the fridge. Tap water is never cold enough. Story 40. My bidet. I always say my bidet to questions like this, and I feel like I always will. It's made a huge difference in how clean I feel, and I've not used toilet paper in nearly 3 years. Well, at home anyway. So I've saved a ton of money. 26 attachment at Amazon. Story 41. My Squier electric guitar. Saved up 20 weeks worth of school allowance to get it, and I spend almost all my free time either gaming, playing guitar, or playing guitar while gaming. They say experiences make you more happy than materialistic things, but my guitar alone has allowed me to study an instrument, start discussions with people, and jam out with my friends. Story 42. A skateboard. When I was 11 years old, I bought a skateboard and my mom wasn't really okay with it. I have now been skateboarding nonstop for 5 years, and it's saved my life. I have learned so many life lessons from skateboarding, and I don't know what I would do without it. Story 43. My daughter. 13 grand for IVF was worth every penny. She'll be 1 next month, and this past year with her has been incredible. Story 44. Honestly, I was against Amazon Echoes for freaking ages. Then I got tipsy at a party and yelled at one till 4 a.m. and decided I wanted one. Got one for some smart lights for some smart plugs. Now I wake up to my lights turning their brightness up for me. But the best use for this came in the form of winding my boyfriend up. My boyfriend loves to mess with me. The one time he doesn't is during intimacy. Anyway, I decided to set up an Alexa command that would turn off all the lights and play Marvin Gaye, Let's Get It when I said, Alexa, get sexy. He was not impressed when he was trying to seduce me, and I loudly said, Alexa, get sexy, and Marvin Gaye started playing. I was practically wetting myself as he walked off out the room, shaking his head. I've also used it to set an alarm to Hot Potato by the Wiggles instead of the usual alarm. He texted me when he was at work saying he couldn't stop singing it, but yeah, totally worth it. It's crazy how we spend a third of our lives sleeping, yet we often hesitate to spend money on a high-quality mattress. If you break down the cost over 10 years, it's basically pennies a day for the best sleep of your life. Trust me, your back will definitely thank you when you're older. Story 45. A sleep mask. Freshman year of college, my blinds were terrible and I couldn't sleep, so I bought one for $8 at Target. 5 years later, I am still using it and I sleep better than I ever did without it. Best part is, you can bring it along on airplanes and hotels, etc., and still sleep just as well as if you were at home with a set of blackout curtains. Story 46. My cat, Gordon Ramsay, who is not technically an item, I guess. Due to a mix-up with the shelter and pricing, I ended up paying double for him. I'm not going to be the guy who argues with a charity on price, so I paid it and took him home, and he's the best. He would have been worth paying double again. Right now, as I'm typing this, I keep having to stop because he's headbutting my phone to get me to love him. He just wants to cuddle with me all the time. 247. Ready for love. He's the best. Edit. Here's the cat tax, you filthy animals. Plus bonus Monty Cat, who is Gordon's adopted brother. He is also great, and I love him even though he's a huge jerk most of the time. He doesn't qualify for OP's question because I did not purchase him. He was free, but he's the other best thing I own. Story 47. On Black Friday, I got a Chromebook for $50. Even though I have a laptop, I bought one anyway. Now I don't even use my laptop and take my Chromebook everywhere. Story 48. I'm 18 years old and starting a new life in college, kind of far from my home. So basically a shoot ton of newfound freedom. I have worked in summer jobs since I was 14 years old and saved up a lot of money for college. The first time I went grocery shopping, I stopped by one of those impulse buy sections near the cash register. All I see is a pack of those Lip Smackers flavored lip glosses. You know, the ones fudge 12-year-olds buy. I look at it and immediately purchase with no thoughts whatsoever. The college year is 34 of the way over. I still use that shoot, and my lips taste delicious. Story 49. Tesla Model 3. Yes, it is more expensive as items go, but nothing compares to it in its ability to put a grin on your face every time you drive it. Everything from the instant acceleration to the car driving itself on the highway or a windy country road. Plus, every month so the car gets a free software update, adding everything from gimmicky and fun, looking at you fart mode, to brilliantly useful built-in dash cam sentry mode, new features. Story 50. A pair of quick-drying pants for fieldwork, North Face Aphrodite 2.0 Caprice, if anyone's wondering. They dry very quickly. When I fell in a river, they were dry within a half hour. For anyone who knows how hard it is to dry clothes in the jungle, it's 100 worth it to be dry that quickly. Story 51. A heated blanket. I like to be really warm when I sleep, and I got it on clearance from JCPenney for $70 when it was originally going for $220. I've slept underneath it every night since. Story 52. My pet rabbit. Got her for my birthday, and she does wonders to my mental state. She has mellowed in her old age, so she is just a floofy old lady. Story 53. I bought a remote gate opener for my parents' farm. If you live on a farm, get one. They're around $400, but it's the best thing, especially when it's cold or your parents are old like mine. No more getting out of the vehicle, dragging the gate open, getting back in, driving through, getting out and closing the gate. It's the one thing I bought them that they use every day. Story 54. A board lifter. Cost me the Equiviome about $200, but I was able to put up lots of OSB and plasterboard in my workshop. I have no idea how I would have done it without one. Also a big jerk hockey scaffolding set. I would be a poor man if I had rented one, considering the years of use I have gotten out of it. Story 55. Considering the price, my B movie cologne. X200B, I know what you're thinking. X200B, I bought it last Christmas for myself, when I was tipsy off my jerk with a friend. X200B, but X200B, for only $10, including shipping, to get a perfectly fine, usable bottle of cologne, combined with the fudge meme of it, and considering the fact that 11 years after the movie came out, they're still apparently selling it on Amazon, fudge worth every goddamn penny. Edit. Here's a picture. Story 56. Helix foam bed. Same thing as Casper or Purple. It's honestly changed my life. A Ducati Multistrada. Depends on your interest, but you'll never regret that purchase. A Leatherman multi-tool. The most handy tool in the world. Edit. I cannot vouch for any other mattresses. I can guarantee you Helix is an amazing product with no downside. The best part is they give you a questionnaire to fill out to customize the mattress based off your likings, firmness, etc. I bought a queen for $900. Story 57. An external monitor for your laptop at home. Having that much more screen space makes life so much easier. Story 58. Not an item, but a lawyer. This was $500 well spent so that I would not lose my license and furthermore job after getting a traffic ticket. Story 59. My sewing machine. It's only a 90 machine from Walmart, and I barely used it until the last year or so. Now I've found a hobby I enjoy. I'm teaching myself a skill and have even started making money with it, selling some of the things I sew. I'm also teaching my children how to use it, and my son has sold a couple of the blankets he made. It's teaching him he needs to have a skill and work to earn money. I've used it to repair countless things, from bra straps to hemming pants and making gifts. Overall, it's paid for itself and then some. I'd love to upgrade in the future, but for now, this cheapy machine does the job and then some. Answer: my mom paid $500 for a proper Janome sewing machine, and we are 5 kids. She has done countless repairs and stitching on that darn thing, saving more than its purchase price. Altering outfits, repairing, hemming, stitching Asian outfits from scratch for both herself and me, etc. Trimming bedding where the duvet cover is too long, embroidering my name on items to stop it being mixed up with others, etc. 10,000 would recommend to anyone who even just wants it as a hobby. Maybe not such an expensive model, though. Story 60. My Nintendo Switch had a really bad last year, resulting in having to move back with my parents. Been making a lot of progress since. New job, promotion, new car. Next is moving out, but I felt like treating myself last month and bought a Switch. I don't have a TV in my room, so this is perfect for comfy gaming these chilly nights after work. Highly recommend. Story 61. My pup. It was a spur-of-the-moment decision while I was in California on vacation. He was tied up outside a cafe, and so I sat down and played with the little fellow. His owner informed me that she's planning on selling him, too much work for her nanny, and asked if I was interested. I took one more look at the pup and immediately changed my flight. Bought him a ticket, gave her the dog never looked back. Story 62. $39 for TurboTax Premium. That included a live CPA on webcam and all the extra forms I needed. Went from owing $470 to a refund of $970. Most worthwhile $39 I ever spent. Story 63. My Nintendo Switch. I went back and forth for weeks about whether I was really going to pay almost $400 when I pretty much just wanted to play Breath of the Wild. But I was having a really hard time that winter when it first came out, and having The Legend of Zelda to look forward to and escape into honestly saved my life in so many ways. That game and that console and the other amazing Switch games I discovered later totally reignited my passion for games. Never underestimate the power of simple fun to make a real difference in your own life and mental health. Story 64. A lazy boy seat for my room. I tend to doze off sitting on my bed with my back bent forward. Always hurts when I wake up. Now I just have to lean back and bring myself to dreamland. Story 65. When I was going through a really nasty breakup, I bought myself a stuffed animal to cuddle at night, as all of the ones I had were from aforementioned ex-SO. It was deemed the self-love bear, and whenever I disliked myself and felt worthless, I would hug that bear and cry into him until I felt better. I know it's kind of mundane and stupid, but it really did help me find some strength in my heartbreak. At the end of everything, I kept him and gave him his name when I finally realized I didn't need him to cry into anymore. His name is Timothy. He's chilling on my bed at the moment. I suggest it to anyone going through a breakup. It sets up a goal, can hold as a great spot holder for any relationship memorabilia, and is a sweet excuse to buy a companion when you need one the most. Edit. Well, good morning, Reddit. Thank you for the gold, stranger. Me and Timothy really appreciate it. I had to leave for a flight this morning, but I managed to get a picture of Timothy in all his glory before I took off. If you've never tried a weighted blanket, you're missing out on the closest thing to a giant, warm hug from the universe. It's like a physical off switch for anxiety and racing thoughts. Just a fair warning, though. Once you crawl under one, you might never want to leave your bed again. Story 66. A journal. I decided to just write all of my thoughts in it. It actually helped me a lot since I had a place to vent to. Story 67. Wanderdraft. The fantasy map-making software. It allowed me to make these for my book. I was worried about maps until I found it. It's so great. Story 68. Snow tires on rims. Likely saved my life more than once. And super cheap to just toss them on every winter. Story 69. Front of the line passes at Universal Studios. Extra $70 per person to skip to the front of every line. Knocked the whole park out in a day with the time to spare. Story 70. A garlic press. 10. Before I had to peel and mince garlic, get my fingers all sticky. Now the garlic press does it in 3 seconds. It even simultaneously peels it. 10. It's basically black magic. Story 71. I paid like $15 for a pair of tweezers once. They are so much better than the cheap ones. I'm not kidding. They're the best thing I've ever splurged on. Story 72. I'm a little surprised that a dash cam isn't higher on the list. For 100 or less, you can avoid thousands of dollars of potential insurance issues. Plus, it can capture some really interesting video. I captured a moose running across an urban highway in my small city just days after installing mine. Edit RIP inbox. For those asking, I have the Viofo A119C V2 dash cam. Also, has plenty of tips, reviews, and recommendations on which dash cam to get. Idiot 2. LOL. For those asking about the moose video, here it is. Answer. This, I got one of my husband after he was in 2 weird accidents caused by other drivers. Wouldn't you know, 3 months later, he was driving up an on-ramp when a semi decided it would be a fantastic time to pull off the side of the road and into the side of his car. Driver of the semi tried to blame him until he said, "Bro, I have a dash cam," and then the truck driver was singing a whole different tune. Worked out for us in the end, nobody hurt, and the insurance company totaled the car for $2,000 more than we thought it was worth. But I really wish we would have had it for the time a Jeep decided to cut across 4 lanes of traffic in front of us and ended up leaning on 2 wheels. They were lucky that they made it back down on 4 wheels without wrecking, but it would have made a great YouTube video. Story 73. Infrared sauna, my dude. Or Gadget classic espresso machine. Top notch. No regrets at all with either of those purchases. Story 74. Melatonin. After a lifetime of taking hours to fall asleep, it's a godsend. Nothing else works, and it only costs a few bucks every few months. Price has gone up, though. Story 75. I'm nearly 740 feet tall, and I finally bought an office chair meant for someone my size. It was amazing not to feel like I was sitting on some kind of rolling baby chair. Story 76. Solid silver garbage can for $8. The sellers must have thought it was tarnished brass. Story 77. Dash cam, dash cam, dash cam. I bought one for $60, and it got me out if a wrongfully issued speeding ticket stopped some jerk from saying I hit him when I clearly didn't, and was the only evidence of a recently fired employee slashing my tires. Everyone driving on the road would have a dash cam. Story 78. Movers. They carried my boxes and furniture from point A to point B in one trip. No need for a caravan of borrowed friends, pickup trucks, and a keg of beer. Story 79. Nintendo Switch. It's been a year and a half, and I still am amazed at the technology and convenience of being able to play in my room, then take it with me whenever I need to. Story 80. Spent $900 on a bicycle. Basically got me around for 4 years without a car. Probably put at least 17K miles on it. Story 81. A 120 gig SSD to run Windows and my important programs on. Time between hitting the button and working or gaming is less than 10 seconds. Story 82. My 3-year-old wanted some yellow man. I was like, WTF is this lil fudge talking about? It's those inflatable arm man for stores. Oh, lol. So I bought him a mini desktop version for like $30 on Amazon. He loves that shoot. Story 83. My Chevy 15 passenger van. As soon as I bought it, I remodeled it to be able to live in for 6 months of the year, and it's by far the most valuable and sentimental thing I own. My dog and I live wherever we want. We live in places that people would pay millions of dollars for, but for a fraction of the cost, if not free. I've learned to bear the cold, but appreciate nature as it changes. Story 84. My boyfriend and I invested in a water cooler a few months back. It's already paid for itself. We used to buy a lot of water bottles. Now we just refill a few 5-gallon bottles every other week. Story 85. I dislike to admit it, but our minivan. Am that parent now, but it is so awesome. The size, the trunk space, the easy car seats. Soccer parent, here I come. Story 86. My dad bought a waffle iron at a garage sale in the 80s for $0.25. Still runs strong and makes the best darn waffles I've ever had. It's a family heirloom as far as concerned. Story 87. 4-inch memory foam mattress topper. Got my first one for the dorms and have had one since because I am still too broke to invest in a decent bed. Story 88. My boyfriend brought an Xbox One. I wasn't excited, then I discovered Fallout. Besides the bathroom, we use it every day. Story 89. I've never regretted buying books, any of my electronics. Those seem like obvious or silly answers, but it is true. Story 90. My 2018 Subaru Forester. It's incredibly spacious for cargo or taking people around. Plus, the 2.5L 4-cylinder boxer engine is no slouch on a manual transmission. Story 91. Good aftershave balm cream. At first, I thought 40-50 was too much, but it's been well over a year, and I still have plenty from the original tube. And it makes my face feel nice. Story 92. For 20, I got my son a toy laptop and helps him learn colors, shapes, basic math, names of animals and objects, and lots of other educational stuff. He absolutely loves it and helps reinforce the stuff we are already teaching him. He will be 3 this June and can already count to 13, knows a lot of shapes, including shapes like trapezoid and nonogons, and can name nearly any animal he sees. Education is never a waste of money when it's applied properly. Story 93. Bose Quiet Comfort noise-canceling headphones. Went on a trip this past week with more than 20 hours travel time each way. While they couldn't stop the autistic kid behind me from kicking my chair, I sure as hell couldn't hear the little bastard's screeches. For sure, would have gone insane otherwise. Story 94. As much as people like to give shoot for it, my vape, cigarette-free for 2 years, saving $180 a week and feels so much better. Story 95. A London fog trench coat from a thrift store for 15. It is to this day my favorite piece of clothing. Fits me perfectly too. Story 96. One purchase recently has been a gym membership. Suffered from some depression and anxiety episodes and started exercising in an attempt to come out of the hurt. It is working. Story 97. I don't really buy a lot, and this may sound dumb, but I am really happy about buying my 2DS XL. My old 3DS broke recently. I've had it since I was a kid, and I love the thing. It really helps with my anxiety because it's something to escape, I guess. I bought the XL with my Christmas money, and I love it. I get stressed and anxious regularly, so I can just take it out of my bag wherever I am and stop dying inside. It's kind of lame, but I'm happy with it, and it was totally worth the money. Cool beans. Story 98. Most used, MacBook Pro dev career really accelerated when I switched to Mac in the aughts. So you could make the argument that it's been a good investment as well. I honestly believe using Mac OS has made a huge difference. Used both Windows and Linux previously, just isn't the same. Story 99. A 4-pack of mini Post-it notes and a pack of pens from the 99C store. I've been leaving little "I love you and you are amazing" style of notes around my girlfriend's house. I keep them in my car and write a few new ones that I sneakily place around when I'm over. The amount of times I get a text with her, excited and happy, finding a new one, vastly outweighs the 2 that I used to purchase them. Even Geico would be impressed how much value I'm getting out of it. Worth it? Absolutely. Story 100. An alarm clock that slowly lights up and mimics the sunrise naturally. Makes waking up in winter months a hell of a lot easier. Edit. For everyone asking for recommendations, this is the one I have. Answer. My best friend for the past 6 years, met at work, I introduced him to golf, more and more, etc., has been late to work every single day. The last time I was at his house, he was so excited because he got one of these, and he mounted it above the head of his bed. On Monday, for the first time in my friendship with this guy, he beat me to work. I don't know how he still has a job after being late for so long, but I'm proud of him. 5 stars. Story 101. Kindle Paperwhite. It always takes time for the physical copy of books to arrive at the bookstore, and even when it did, I'm too lazy to go out and buy them. And sometimes a specific book in a series is not available, leaving you with an incomplete set. Plus, the screen is so similar to an actual paper it doesn't strain your eyes when reading. Story 102. Probably my 2012 MacBook Air. Still using it every day, and although it is underpowered, I never notice its shortfalls. I've been considering replacing it for years, but all of the current MacBooks are compromised in one or more areas. I may end up begrudgingly replacing this with a Linux machine. Honorable mention to my AirPods. Use them quite a bit and feel that they are the only wireless headphones I've used that don't suck. Story 103. Salt 0.86 will get you 26 ounces of table salt. A grain of salt is about 0.0585 grams or 0.02064 ounces. That's somewhere around 12,596,900 grains of salt. If you really wanted to splurge, you could spend an extra 0.14 to get another 1,900,000 grains to take you up to an exhilarating 14,500,000 grains of salt. Just imagine how much fun you could have with almost 15 million grains of salt. You could put some in your neighbor's car's gas tank. You could put some in your own gas tank. You could even pour some into a water bottle and drink it to pretend you're lost at sea and can only drink salt water. The possibilities are as endless as the number of grains of salt you have. Story 104. My vape. I know it's kind of a meme, but since I got it, I've been smoking less actual cigarettes, and apparently I smell less like shoot. Story 105. Rainbow sandals. They last for years and are super comfortable, If you live in a warm area, you can wear them everywhere. Story 106. My land. Honestly, it took nearly a decade to save up money, find a good location in my price range, etc. But no one in my family will ever truly be homeless again, including me. I can help family, friends, and myself thanks to buying that plot of land. Edit. Wow, this blew up. Appreciate all the concern, everyone. But we are very aware that taxes exist and we always pay them on time. I know taxes can be quite high in many cities. We live in a rural area to avoid those higher rates. But even if they are higher down the road, it'll still be quite affordable to live there and far more affordable than many places in the U.S. For those that just want to use this to jab at the man and his taxes, I'd appreciate it if you went elsewhere with it. I don't mind paying my taxes and I don't want to debate about taxes at this time. I hope you can understand that. Edit 2. I love the mice and men jokes and kudos to the one Pocahontas joke too. Appreciate all the positivity and even the concern from the anti-taxes camp. There was some really angry that I mentioned putting renters on my property in the future, or more hopefully, expanding the land and putting some renters there off of my parents' and front yard space. We're hoping to put affordable housing on in order to help pay off the mortgage. Afterwards, we hope to use those homes as hippie-ish homes where people can just live cheaply and that we know. People like my nephews and niece, our family members, or my friends that don't want to run the rat race anymore like us. I'm not quitting my day job to be a renter tycoon. I don't even live there yet. I wrote a comprehensive full disclosure buried somewhere in this mess. So if you'd like to see our whole situation, it's in there somewhere. I'm not trying to make this into a perfect American dream. Just posting my dream, and more specifically, just the fact I think the land I bought was the best thing I've ever done with my money. I've been in bad rentals and good rentals, and I'd like to make space for people down the road. The end. Edit 3. Unfortunately, someone much richer than I'll ever be walked up with $65K in cash and bought that land out from under us the day we walked over with contract in hand. For those that were following this, bought 10 acres. Intended on putting a couple humble tiny houses in the front to help pay off the mortgage as my parents live on a fixed income and I live out of state. 5 acres came up for sale behind us. We wanted to buy those 5 acres to expand our home and make more reasonable living space for family and friends via putting rental homes up on it until all the lands were paid off. It's disheartening to say the least. The seller really talked to us in such a way as to think this was a done deal. Even though I know nothing is final until it's done, the arrangements we had made with each other and the close contact we maintained made me think this was very likely happening. I don't know anyone that can compete with rich people's cash in hand. We're pretty heartbroken, but we still have the original land we purchased, and we'll go with our original plan to put a couple tiny houses in the front yard space. Most people don't realize that a dull knife is actually way more dangerous than a sharp one because it's prone to slipping. Once you switch to a professional-grade chef's knife, cooking stops being a chore and starts feeling like an art form. It's the one tool in the kitchen that truly changes the entire experience. Story 107. My residency visa in New Zealand. With it, I no longer need to pay for a hospital, and my doctor costs $35 to visit. Story 108. Boots for sure. I wear them until they get holes in them, and they last forever. I have a pair from the 90s. Story 109. Recently bought a big, fluffy blue rug to cover my dingy beige carpet. It's apt living. Life-changing. My room is 500x nicer, and I'm actually happy to come home and hang out. Having a nice home environment has really made me more relaxed and do better in other areas of life as well. Story 110. Spent $150 on a Japanese chef knife. You'd be surprised how much easier and enticing cooking has become as the prep work becomes enjoyable. Story 111. As a mother of vent bottles, none of the babies I know that was raised with them was at all colicky, easy to clean too. As a crazy animal person, commercial level steam vacuum, self-explanatory. As a multi-cats owner, wood pallet cat litter, no more traced cat litter, absolutely no more smell of urine. Best part, it's half the cost of normal litter too as I go to Tractor Supply and get horse beddings. As a person, please own a first aid kit. $10 and you get years out of it. All small injuries can now be instantly relieved. Story 112. Besides a motorcycle, my Bose QC35 headphones. I was hesitant to spend that much on headphones, but they're worth every goddamn penny. Story 113. Best ROI, a 30. AeroPress. I was terrible at making coffee, would spend upwards of 10 days on Americanos and drip coffee, Starbucks, and hipster places. Now I make better coffee at home, and I don't have to go anywhere. 5 years of 200 Marmo savings and still going strong. Not bad for a little plastic tube. Have replaced the plunger once. 5. Story 114. I bought a nice new kitchen garbage can, the foot pedal kind, as an Xmas present to myself and my housemates this year. I don't want to shill the brand or anything, but it's available at Bed Bath Beyond, and I got mine on sale for $90. Yeah, it sounds crazy to spend $90 on a kitchen trash can, but this thing is so nice. The pedal is sturdy, the lid moves smoothly, it opens up nice and wide, it closes nice and tight, and it's designed to minimize the areas where trash might actually touch the lid or the can. Story 115. $5 microwavable travel mug. I keep an assortment of tea bags and a vial of honey on me at all times. Every place of business I've ever been in has a water fountain and a microwave. I have never paid for coffee ever since. Story 116. My freedom. Debt-free for many years now. Wouldn't trade it for all the consumer must-buy stuff at the mall constantly, stuff in the world. Story 170. Family holiday to France and Euro Disney. Wife and kids passed away a year later, and memories of that trip are priceless to me. Story 118. Expensive bed sheets. Immediately had buyer's remorse until I slept on them. Ex loved my bed so much she stayed over more often just because of the sheets. Story 119. My conversion van. I put a bed in the back, and holy shoot, I love it. No matter what happens, I have a place to sleep. Get locked out? I have a bed. Get too tipsy at a bar? Just walk to the van and sleep in comfort. Road trips, I can fit anything I need in there and can just pull over at any rest stop and sleep in a real bed. And for a bonus, people on highways and parking lots give me tons of room. It's a drivable house. Story 120. Beat it, beat it, beat it, beat it, beat it. I have answered this on Reddit so many times, I might as well save it to Notepad so I can copy and paste. Funny thing is, I got a bidet because of a thread like this on a Reddit. The phrase, probably not word for word but close, that convinced me was this. If you got some poop on your arm, would you wipe it off with a dry paper towel or start rinsing it off first with water? I found a cheap one on Groupon for like $28. I will say it has ruined my life since then because now I dread shoot anywhere else. It is so bad that I bought one for my mother's guest bathroom, so whenever I am in town to visit, I can shoot Lowell. Seriously, a bidet will change your life. I feel so barbaric if I have to shoot out of town now. It's so bad that I usually just take a shower. After I shoot if I am not home, hotel, etc. So the good and the bad. Good, your jerk will always have the fresh out of the shower clean. No more itchy jerk, no more burning jerk if you have a stomach bug or something and poop a lot, etc. And it saves on toilet paper. No more of those, my jerk clenched up and broke the chute in half, wiping with 5 rolls of toilet paper. Bad. You will be very apprehensive about shoot without one. It will really bother you. It's always funny to see how hesitant people are about bidets until they actually try one for the first time. Once you experience that level of cleanliness, going back to just using toilet paper feels almost barbaric. It's a total lifestyle shift that costs less than a single fancy dinner out. Story 121. I bought this huge burger that had 3 layers of bacon, hamburger, regular cheese, and cheese sauce. And then of the topmost layer was this special sauce. It cost me $9, but it was worth every cent. Story 122. I dropped $1,000 to own this German Shepherd puppet from the show Danger 5. It's one of my favorite shows, and being able to own such a unique and iconic prop used on the show was definitely worth it. For those of you unfamiliar with the show, it's a hilarious Australian comedy about a group of spies who are trying to eliminate Hitler. But the show, at least the first season, is shot like it's from the 1960s. Here are some of the scenes featuring my puppet. Story 123. My little dog Lewis. I've had him for 12 years this month, and I don't know what I'll do when he goes. I've never spent better money than when I bought that little boy. Edit. Thanks for gold and silver. So glad my top comment is about Lewis. Edit 2. Lewis in his cat bed. Story 124. A portable phone battery. All the time I waste looking for a charger when I'm out is now time I waste on Reddit. Story 125. I don't know if it's the most worth it item, but a recent purchase that I don't regret is my robot vacuum. Last time I used a dustbuster, which is what I figured the RoboVac would perform similar to, was way back on the early 2000s, and they were crap then. The RoboVac way exceeded my expectations. Story 126, Biodynamic Custom Pro and ATH M40. 4 years and going strong. Nike and Adidas sneakers, 3 years and going strong. Clark's and Hush Puppies shoes, 3 years and going strong. HP. Envy laptop, 6 years and going strong. Toyota Corolla, still brand new. Story 127. Winter boots rated to 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Never having cold feet again has been totally worth it. Story 128. My car, 2000 Volvo S70. I bought it from my brother when I was 16. I think it had 244K miles at that point. When I was planning to move, I sold it back to him for what ended up being about 10 months. In those 10 months, my Subaru Forester blew head gaskets, exhaust rusted out in 2 places, had to replace struts and CV joints. And finally, when the transmission blew, I sold it for 200. I bought my Volvo back from my brother, and it's been worth every penny, both the first and second times I owned it. It's now at 304K and still going strong. Story 129, my 3D printer. I have a Prusa i3 MK3, and it has the best quality of any beginner's printer I've ever seen, and even better than some higher-end printers, like MakerBot. The kit was $750, which is a bit higher than most beginners' printers, but in my mind, it pays for itself in the quality. There's a 3D printed Empire State Building right next to my laptop at this second. Story 130, Pyro self-cleaning oven. No more scrubbing burnt innards. Just click onto Pyro Clean mode and 1 hour later, wipe away the ash. Story 131. One time, my friend and I were sleeping outside Walmart for a week waiting for the Wii to release, and this guy wheels out a cart full of potatoes, like only potatoes. So many potatoes, and my friend goes, "Potatoes?" And the guy just goes, "Potatoes are so worth it." And we both died. Ever since then, whenever something is so worth it, we say it's potatoes. Answer. Hey man, potatoes are the MVP of the plant world. You can eat them in a huge variety of ways. They can be a side dish, they can be a main dish, they can be a snack. You can ferment them and make vodka. You can cut them up and make art. You can use them to clean. You can stick electrodes in them and make a clock. You can make a bomb out of them. They are so worth it. Story 132. LASIK. You don't know how underrated not thinking about your eyes is. My eyes were 4.25 in each eye. Basically means I was blind without glasses contacts. I go camping and to festivals a lot, and both glasses and contacts were such a jerk. Going places, worrying if you brought contact solution, or cleaning your glasses, or all the other BS things that come with either. I literally don't think about my eyes anymore. I love it. Story 133. Just bought a Uniball Signa white gel pen. It's like a handgasm. Makes drawing on black paper enjoyable instead of a chore trying to get a cheap gel pen to give ink. Fudge being left-handed. Story 134. A good espresso machine. I was annoyed at my husband at first for buying a $400 fancy coffee maker, but I quickly shut the hell up as soon as I had my first sip. My palate will never be the same. It is so fresh and delicious. Story 135. Our house bought in 2013. It has nearly doubled in value since then. More importantly, we have a family home, and if we'd waited 12 months, we wouldn't have been able to afford it. Story 136. Bluetooth headphones. I used to get my earbuds tangled, cords ripped, or it'll latch onto something and my phone will go flying right out of my pocket. Or my over-the-counter headphones would be plugged into my computer, and the length of the cord can sometimes be annoying. Either Bluetooth headphones and earbuds are the most worth it for me, or quality kitchen knives cooking really is easier when the knives are sharp and last a long time. Story 137. Yeti insulated tumblers and mugs. They made every other thermos, yes I know it's a brand, look like dog shit. Before I had one, I thought they were weirdly overpriced for a cup. Nah, worth it if you value keeping iced drinks iced, or keeping your hot coffee hot. Story 138. Proper, decent, padded mountain bike shorts. My balls are now nestled in a hammock of comfort, and my gooch is no longer a shock absorber. Story 139. Leather belt I wear every day with a 100-year warranty. It was about $100. I figure it's $1 per year to own an unbreakable belt. Before my dad died, we got him one, which he also wore on a near-daily basis. My brother tried to donate it to charity. I felt like cracking him across the face, to be honest. Edit, Saddleback is the brand. Do your research, though. I've heard talk of a quality drop as of late. Story 140. Small dishwasher for my apartment. Couldn't fit a big floor version one, but the smaller ones does the job perfectly, and it's saving me so much time. I freaking love that thing. 10/10 recommend. Story 141. It was the special edition Tombstone Diablo pizza with spicy chorizo, jalapenos, sweet red peppers, real Wisconsin mozzarella cheese, and fiery sriracha tomato sauce. Tombstone, if you're reading this, please bring back the Diablo pizza. Story 142. 2005 KLR 650 in 2014. I've put over 50K miles on it since getting it and have had so many excellent adventures and have become quite the moto mechanic. Story 143. A portable dishwasher. My fiance and I live in an apartment without a dishwasher or a place to hook one up. It was fine for a while, but then we were both working full-time, with him doing additional side work on top of his full-time job and me working swing shift, rotating between days and nights, and going to school. Our house was a wreck. We'd come home and were so exhausted. Then on our days off, spend hours doing the dishes. I loved to cook and bake and just stopped because it became too much work and our extremely busy schedules made it hard to keep up. Finally, I said, fudge it. We're buying a portable dishwasher. Best purchase ever. Story 144. My fitness watch. My ex helped me buy it during a particularly hard chapter of my life. Antidepressants, severe depression, no job, constantly sleeping. He had one of his own and thought it'd help me get up and moving a bit more, so he pitched in half of the cost so I could get one. It was the most motivating thing. I'm a super competitive person and at times have a tendency to overachieve, so I started challenging myself to do more steps or climb more hills than he could in one day. He has a very physically demanding job, and honestly, it was the most motivating thing, having a little digital assistant tell me I'm doing a good job and keeping me on track. I started exercising daily, finding joy in life, enjoying spending time with myself again, pushing myself further and further. One day I just woke up, jumped out of bed and went for a run and realized how impossible something like that would have seemed 2 months prior. It was literally like an extension of myself for almost 4 hours. It was the most handy and worthwhile purchase ever. It recently broke, so I just upgraded to a newer version and I'm so excited for it to come in the mail. It may seem silly that one little watch could do so much, but I truly believe it brought me back from the depths of my own personal hell. Story 145. Electric blanket. I can hardly tolerate the cold, and you can make you bed toasty before you get under the covers. The warmth is like a nice hug to lull you to sleep. Story 146. My mother thought I was nuts, blowing the better part of $70 on something called a bag of holding. But the original ThinkGeek bag of holding is one of the best messenger bags ever sold, crafted of high-quality canvas with long-lasting magnetic clasps and YKK zippers. I've had it for about 5 years, and the only evidence it's not new is a faint black mark from some oil residue on one side. It's my work bag, my overnight bag, my game night bag, and my primary travel bag. I keep deodorant, cologne, nail clippers, tissues, and Tylenol in there year-round. Story 147. A Spider-Man morph suit in the college. Used to get tipsy and stumble out of my room saying, I heard it was somebody's birthday. And my friends would get all excited like a bunch of little kids. Got enough laughs out of it that I didn't mind when it eventually broke. Story 148. I don't know if this qualifies as an item per se, but by far the most worth it money I've ever spent was to replace all of my. Story 149. Rechargeable batteries. Got them for $25 on Amazon, had them over a year now, so I think they paid for themselves. Story 150. Technically not an item, but I rescued a dog from the shelter 2.5 years ago on my birthday. He's my best friend, and now I just say we have the same birthday, so we share that day together. Story 151. My motorcycle. I had never really considered getting one for myself, although I liked being a backpack, the ride-along. My best friend had one, and my dad drove a Harley, so that seemed like enough. But when I started dating my now fiancé who rides, he convinced me I could have my own. I was absolutely terrified during the whole learning process, but I pushed through it, and it was definitely worth it. Being a backpack can't compare to the freedom of riding my own sport bike. Story 152. How is a personal computer not higher up? Mine has cost me $700 and has seen thousands of hours used for various things over the past 3 years. Story 153. My mechanical keyboards. I have a nice Corsair for home use. Red switches with O-rings to make it a bit more quiet, and a cheapish one for work with brown switches. I don't remember the brand, but it feels good to type on. The Corsair was given to me, though. My friend didn't like it for some reason. I love it. I didn't get the mechanical keyboard hype until I started typing on it for a while. I can't go back now. I'm more precise. My WPM has gone up by at least 20 or 30. I was a fairly quick typist before on cheap keyboards, so that was shocking to me. They sound great, and parts are easy to replace as they wear out. Plus, my work requires me to do a lot of typing these days. A lot of my coworkers use macros for things we type a lot. It's faster for me to just type it instead of clicking the buttons at this point. I can almost keep up with my average talking speed now. I didn't think that was possible when I was using membrane keyboards. Story 154, oh for sure the Barca loungers. Me and my roommate just love them. Perfect to just sit then and watch Baywatch with some beers and pizza. Story 155. I was walking El Camino, a pilgrimage of hundreds of kilometers in northern Spain, and spent 25 euros on a pair of hiking poles after a couple days. My knees thanked me immediately and made the rest of the trek infinitely better. Story 156. Leased a car when my old 2002 Honda Accord broke down unexpectedly and wound up being totaled due to two pistons falling into the engine. Had great credit but was not prepared to have the cash for a big down payment. Lease ended and I only had 35K miles on it, and they gave me the option to buy the car at the same low lease payment rate I was already paying with the shortest payment plan they offered. I know everyone on our personal finance would skin me alive telling me how stupid it is to buy a new car, but I'm 5 years in and have never once wondered if my car will start or had to take it in for anything big engine or functionality-wise, outside of some new tires from Sam's, under $300 for 4 new tires with warranty and installation included, and a few oil changes. That to me is worth it, knowing I can get up and make it to and from work every day without worry. No regrets from me. Story 157. I know it won't seem like much to most, but mine would have to be my God of War PS4. I've never really had a special edition of anything, and when I heard about the new one coming out, I saved as best I could to afford it. Sometimes I still take a glance at it by the TV and smile a little bit because it's just that worth it to me. Story 158. Spent 10K for my wife's IVF. Now we have the sweetest, cutest, and happiest 15-month-old girl on the entire planet, and she fills our hearts with joy every single day. Best 10 G's I ever spent. Story 159. Vacuum sealer for food. We get our meat from a friend who raises it and vacuum seal everything. We never have to throw any freezer burnt meat away. Best 70 we could have spent. Story 160. Spent 300 on an old Nintendo sign. Turns out it was one of the rarest still existing. Sold it for $67.50 within 24 hours. Had passed it a few times at the flea market. Never thought to buy it until I did. Story 161. 10 fan that clamps onto anything and stays hard. The fan has 2 speeds. More than enough. Has never broken. It's been dropped and beat up and thrown around and traveled with. You plug it in, it's powerful but about 7 inches across. Got it from Target. Absolutely love the thing. Story 162. Reusable water bottle. I just keep refilling it and never have to buy plastic bottles. I have no idea how much money it actually saves me. Story 163. Double-sided brown and black belt. Whenever you need to use the other color, you just turn it around. Got mine at Walmart for like $10. Story 164. Nintendo Switch. I treated myself to it a year ago, and it has been such a great purchase. It's really amazing being able to play games like BOTW and Rocket League from the comfort of my bed. Story 165. Treadmill. It's the most expensive thing I've bought in years, but it's drastically improved my depression and overall well-being. Story 166. The money I spent adopting my rescue dogs. They bring me so much joy. I'm so glad that I sprung them from doggy jail. Story 167. Toilet light. That's right. You heard correctly. No more blinding light or shooting in the dark when you pee at night. Story 168. I don't know how big of an item you're looking for, but for me, the best purchase I've ever made has to be my car. I have a brand new convertible Mustang. It's given me the confidence boost I've needed for years, and it's allowed me to get out of my shell and meet people. This goes for friendships and business relationships. I went from a shy, beat-down, depressed 21-year-old guy to feeling like a rock star almost overnight. The first time I put the top down, I actually had to put it back up because I started crying my eyes out. I finally felt happy after 3 years of bad depression. My car freed me. It's on. Story 169. A cheap 10-hit from Asus tablet. Paid $175 new for it on sale. Came with a detachable keyboard. Tossed in a 64 GSD card, and it's been solid for 4 years now. Full Windows 10 on it. Never a single problem with it, and I use it every day. I had eliminated an iPad in a year and a half, but this thing keeps on going. Story 170. Well, I got these as an add-on deal item when upgrading my phone, but my Bluetooth earbuds had these before AirPods were even a thing. I still use them 4 years later and wear them nearly every day. Story 171. Brand new mattress. Sleeps a lot better than my old one. Cost me a pretty dollar and a few ugly ones, but worth it. Also, my new Razer gaming headset. I'm not a heavy-duty gamer. I only play very casual games like Hidden Object or point-and-click puzzle games, similar to Mr. Ribbon. But I knew that a gaming headset is often more better built for computer sound than a standard pair of headphones or even studio-grade stereo headphones. They're quite comfortable, and goddamn, son, do they produce great sound. I could hear notes in some of the songs in my music library I didn't know existed. After testing them out on a couple of games, I put them through the ultimate test, Pink Floyd. Holy fudge, did I pick up Shoot? I'd never heard before, even knowing what half of it was. Some of the background vocal tracks were a lot more intelligible than they've ever been before, and I've listened to them on God knows how many different sets of stereo headphones or stereo speaker systems. Story 172. 20-pound weighted blanket. Expensive, but holy hell. I could tell the quality of my sleep improved tenfold once I started using it from day one. I have way more dreams and sleep more soundly than ever. Feel so safe and cozy. Story 173. Just bought a weighted blanket. Best sleep I've had in years. I'm so happy to hear that this has helped so many of you. It's the little things. Answer, I didn't even know this was a thing, but my wife bought new bedding and replaced our puffy comforter with a blanket and comforter from Pottery Barn. They aren't specifically weighted, but the first thing I noticed was how much heavier they were, like throwing an animal hide over your body. And man, I have been sleeping much better. So I didn't know it was a thing, but I certainly get it. Story 174. Got the Samsung Galaxy S7 Edge 3 years ago when it was launched. While a lot of phones has released since then, I tend to stick with my phone as its performance doesn't lag behind with what is being offered right now. To which I realized that buying a flagship once in 3 to 4 years is enough, rather than buying mid-range and/or lower-end range phones that you would have to replace in a year. Story 175. I have a simple rule in life. Don't buy cheap toilet paper or trash bags unless you want to clean up the same chute twice. It's amazing how simple some truths can be. Story 176. I'm a bit late to this, but a mesh Wi-Fi system for our house. My fiance and I are both pretty active on multiple devices at once, and our router we had been using for years just didn't cut it, both in terms of coverage and speed. I received a gift card to Best Buy for Christmas and started doing research on mesh Wi-Fi systems and settled on the Google Wi-Fi 3-pack. We now have one in the living room, workroom, and my office in the basement, and our whole house is covered. What amazed me the most was that I read reviews that said things like our speed was always not great until we picked these up, and now we're pulling 100 Mbps down. I didn't believe them and assumed that they were paid or whatever. Holy hell was I wrong. We pay for 100 Mbps, but never got above 30 on a good day. Minutes after setting up Google Wi-Fi, I ran a speed test and pulled close to 110. The slowest we've seen since has been 75, and it's now easily the best purchase I've made in a long time. Noise-canceling headphones aren't just a gadget, they're a portable sanctuary. Whether you're on a loud plane or trying to focus in a busy office, being able to delete the outside world with one click is pure bliss. For introverts and people who value their peace, it's an absolute game changer. Story 177. Duluth Trading Company brand Buck Naked Boxer Briefs. The fit and feel make them easily the best value of any item I have ever purchased. Now consider this. I bought 3 pair 5 years ago. I wear them every day. I may have had to wear an alternative 10 days out of 5 years due to laundry backup. All 3 pair have retained their elasticity, shape, and support with 0 signs of wear or damage after 500 wear and wash cycles. Story 178. A pair of Merrell hiking shoes. For those 24 hikes I do a year, those passing grip treads are a godsend, and they're comfy too. Story 179. When I was young, condoms. Most recently, engagement ring. After having amount of kids I never knew I wanted, vasectomy, X200B. Story 180. When I was 6, I went to Sainsbury's to buy something with money my aunt had given me. I saw a funny-looking hedgehog teddy and immediately wanted him. My mom and my older brother tried to convince me that this was a waste of money and that I should buy a Lego set or something, But I was determined and clung on, and it was my money after all. 7 years later, I rarely ever build Lego, but I still love that hedgehog to this day. His name is Spike. Story 181, a new shower head with multiple settings that you take off the holster and hold in your hand. You can get one for like 30, 40 and it'll change your life. Story 182, a gym for my basement. They're expensive and I felt like I shouldn't spend so much on a hobby, but I love it. I've probably put $3,000 into it over the last few years, but I have the disposable income and refuse to let myself feel guilty about it. No more waiting for benches or squat racks at a commercial gym or backing out because I just don't feel like leaving the house again after getting home from work. It pays for itself in a few years by not having a $600 a year gym membership. In worst case, I could probably sell it for $1,500, $2,000. Story 183. I'm super late to this thread, but buying my first plant 3 years ago. It was a dying on-sale cactus from Walmart. Plants have since helped me with my depression in ways no other hobby has. Story 184. Ill risk downvotes from the adoption-only crowd. But the best thing I've ever purchased was my dog, who I got from a breeder. She's brought my family so much joy. She's paid for herself 1,000,000 times over. I was diagnosed with MS shortly after I got her, after 5 years of symptoms, and petting that sweet dog's fur, when my fingertips can barely feel anything, is one of the best feelings. She always curls up with me when she can tell I'm feeling bad. Don't know how I'd have made it this far without her, honestly. Story 185. My Bluetooth headphones. Noise canceling, made of wood, nice little microphone, rarely get tangled. Last for hours and only need like 10 minutes to charge. Story 186. Podium or Sprinter high-top turbo diesel van. It's my business, my house, my transportation, practice for my diesel tech career. It's everything. Story 187. The foam mattress topper on my bed at college. No matter how good, bad of a day I've had, I can always come back to my bed, which is one of the most comfortable things I've ever had the pleasure of laying on. And you know it's good when you look forward to sleeping at college more than sleeping back home. My brother laid on it when he came to visit me a couple years ago and said he was jealous of how comfy it was. I think he has one now too, lol. Seriously, in a world of technology that's nice to have but still glitches and fudge up, a hella comfy mattress topper can make all the difference. Story 188. I have a small collection of celebrity autographs. Some of the celebrities might not mean anything to some people, but they're all worth it to me because they come from people I admire and whose work I enjoy. Story 189. Helping hands. My son spoke less than 10 words by the time he was 4. It scared the hell out of my wife and I. We did anything we could to assist him, and nothing worked until we brought him to Helping Hands. Within 2 weeks, he was speaking full sentences. 2 months in, and it was as if he was ahead of where he should be. I don't even look at it as money spent, but it is definitely the most worthwhile in terms of something I've spent money on.